Those involved in the Astroworld Festival are already facing their first lawsuits over the 8 deaths and dozens of injuries that happened there. The first lawsuit was made by a fan who was injured at the concert, and he's seeking up to $1 million in damages. The lawsuit says that the deaths and injuries were preventable, and that it was the direct result of motivation for profit at the expense of fans' health and safety. It also said that the festival even encouraged dangerous behavior, and this is only the first of the many different lawsuits that are expected to be filed. Travis Scott and his whole team have been fully aware for years about how dangerous the crowds get at his concerts. Watch this clip from Travis's documentary.
Kids, they push up against the front and spread all the way across that and fill in the whole front floor. So the pressure becomes very great up against the barricade. You will see a lot of crowd surfers in general, but also you see a lot of kids that are just trying to get out and get to safety because they can't breathe because it's so compact. You won't know how bad it could be with a crowd until we turn.
I'm coming on here to talk about my experience at Astrofest. It is extremely traumatizing. I've never experienced anything like that in my entire life. Probably because I've never been surrounded by so many lifeless bodies. I haven't been able to stop thinking about what was happening all around me. It was so demonic. The energy was so demonic. The set was demonic. Travis was demonic. We were literally in hell. Like, it felt like we were in hell. Nobody could breathe. We were all suffocating. Everybody around me was suffocating. We were standing on our tiptoes, and all you see is everyone around you, chins up, gasping for air, and that's all you see around you. There was no room for mosh pits. There was no room to breathe. We couldn't even breathe. We didn't even have enough room to, like, I'm sore. Like this hurts to take a deep breath today. Like, we couldn't even breathe in there because everyone's bodies were literally suffocating us so bad that people were bleeding out of their mouths and their nose. People were screaming bloody murder, literally begging for help from anybody. There was nothing that anybody could do. The floors were covered in bodies. You're doing your very best. We're fighting for our fucking lives. We're doing our very best to stay up. You couldn't even put your foot on the ground. You're stepping over other people. You're stepping over other people's shoes, just trying to fucking breathe. I'm surrounded by unconscious bodies. I don't even know if these people were alive. There's just people all around you with their eyes rolled in the back of their heads, just being moved with the crowds. There was nowhere we could go. We were trying to push back. We're trying to push back to get out, and we're just getting pushed forward. We're just getting pushed deeper into the crowd. There's sinkholes of people in the crowds all around me. Like, if I would have hit the floor, I would have never gotten up. You can see, like, adults holding their children up, like, trying to get them to safety. There's kids, like, pissing and shitting themselves as a trauma response. Like, imagine going to your first concert and, like, this is how you think, like, concerts are. Like, it took us 30 minutes to get out of the crowd, and we were in the back. As we finally get out, you just see people running out, bawling, lips blue. There's people, they're dragging dead bodies out of the crowd. Dead bodies. And Travis knew. Travis had a bird's eye view on everybody and could see everything. He was asked multiple times to stop, and his responses are, you know what you were here for, something like that, and let's rage. The only reason we got out was because there was mobs of people, like, all linked up, like, in literal mobs, like, moving together to get out. And half the people that were in this little mob with me, is that what I'm calling it, were unconscious. So that's how we got out. As soon as I literally could move just my arms, I took off fucking running. I ran all the way to the back where there was no fucking people. Not to mention that through this mob of people I was with, it still took us about 2.5 songs to get out still. And there was literally somebody at the front of our line, like full on, fist up, huge ass dude, swinging on people, like literally like coming at people, like get out of our way, there's people unconscious, like they're dying, like it was so bad.
I was one of the EMTs that worked at the Astroworld event. Quick disclaimer, I'm going to give absolutely no names, no company names, nothing like that, nothing to disclose or put anyone in jeopardy. Me and my partner, let's just say Medic 1, me and Medic 1 were stationed at the entrance of Astroworld. About 30 minutes into Travis Scott's set, they called us saying, hey, we need backup by the stage. So me and Medic 1 arrive at the front of the crowd to Medic 2, Medic 3. They're like, hey, I have people, come with me. And so we walk through the VIP section down the middle of the crowd. As soon as we get past the VIP section, really shoulder to shoulder in the thick of the crowd, there was a couple people that kind of grabbed onto my shoulder and was like, hey, there's a girl passed out over here. So me and Medic 1 separate from Medic 2 and 3. They go on their call, we go on this new one. This girl's laying down and me and Medic 1 are asked, what's going on, what's going on? And one of the people says that, oh, she's been down for 10 minutes. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm thinking, damn it, how has no one done anything? Just let her lie on the ground for 10 minutes. So I get down there, check her pulse and breathing, do my whole ABCs check, and she has no pulse, no breathing, which means she could have not been breathing with no pulse the whole 10 minutes. She's been sitting there for 10 minutes, probably no pulse, no breathing, no oxygen to her brain. I can't just throw her over my back and escort her out of the crowd because it was a 5-minute hike into this damn crowd. So I tell Medic 1, hey, I'm going to come back for you. I'm going to grab a crash bag. So I get out of the crowd and I grab my one crash bag, which was a huge mistake. I had no clue what I was getting into. So on my hike back into the crowd with my crash bag, at the halfway point, right here, I find another medic performing CPR. I get down, I'm like, hey dude, where's your partner? What's going on? And he's like, I don't know, man. I just saw this person who's no pulse, no breathing. I just started CPR. I don't know how I'm gonna get him out. In EMS, you have to complete your first call before you can assist on any other ones. And so I was like, okay, look, I'll come back for you too. I need to go to my original guy. So I head out. And then in the middle point between the midpoint and my end point right here, I find a third person performing one-man CPR on another man. And I get there, I'm like, hey, what's happening? Where's your partner? And they're like, they're taking care of another unconscious person. I need to do one-man CPR. I don't know how I'm getting this person out of here. So here I am presented with 3 different EMS personnel providing one-man CPR on 3 different patients, completely isolated from each other, no backboard, no way of getting out. And I'm just like, God damn it. Because of the heat of the moment, whatever, right? My thought process was, okay, I'm not getting these first 2 people out until I get my original person out because that's the first person I ran into. So I gave person number 2 or CPR person number 2 right here, I gave him the crash bag. And I was thinking, you know what, person number 1 that I originally went to, probably already done a couple cycles of CPR and I'm just gonna throw her on my back and get her the hell out of here. And to give y'all context, the radio wasn't working, the music was way too loud. I had called for backup and for help so many times and it was just not going through. I tossed person number 2 the crash bag and I get to person number 1 who was originally there. And thank goodness like 5 cops were there. And they had brought a backboard with them, which thank God. We loaded her up onto the backboard and we get her out of there. She's on her way with like 4 or 5 cops. My original partner, Medic 1's making sure she's okay. And so I'm like, okay, I gotta take care of these other 2. I get to CPR number 2, who I dropped the crash bag off with. And the medic's still there, but a cop arrived with another backboard. So after they finished their round of CPR, I'm like, okay, look, being in this crowd is literally a life threat. That was apparent. Life over limb, she needs to get the hell out of here, just like everyone else who's passed out here. And just to say, along the way, I had so many people reach out to me, tug on my jacket, grab my shoulder, and was like, please help me, I broke my foot. Please help me. I dislocated my shoulder. Please help me. I feel like I'm gonna pass out. And I had to tell all of them, I will try to come back for you, but people are literally dead right now that I need to go help. So we get CPR number 2 loaded up onto a backboard. The cops are like, I got it. And I'm like, okay, thank God. Take him out. I can go to CPR number 3. I get to CPR number 3 and no one's touched this man. No one's helped this man. He needs a crash bag. So I sprint out of the crowd, grab another crash bag, bring it back. What do you know? Security with a backboard. I'm like, thank fuck, teamwork, right? And so as soon as I get third CPR, kind of out the door, out of the way from the crowd, I tell them, look, 3 people dropped in the span of 10 minutes that only I could see. There's like over, 50,000 people here, and I witnessed 3, only me. There's gotta be more. I told those medical personnel, look, I'm gonna go in and find these people, do one-man CPR, do whatever needs to be done to make sure, provide the best amount of care possible and get them the hell out of here. This was just the higher acuity patients. Me and Medic 1, my partner, probably dealt with 5 or 6 other lower acuity. And when I mean lower acuity, I mean not instantly dying, right? I'm talking about broken feet, AMS, people who don't even know their name. They don't even know how to speak anymore. It was horrendous. Me and Medic 1 ran our asses off. In the thick of this, I'm like, so many people are going down. So many people are getting injured. And my observations were that there was 0 crowd etiquette at all. They just wanted to get closer to the show, closer to Travis Scott, and do their thing. They didn't give a single damn about anyone around them. It was an absolute shit show, and I promise you, a lot of these rumors going around where, EMS they weren't trained enough. They were understaffed. Every EMT in the field that I saw, they weren't new to the job, nor were they EMRs. Everyone in the med tent was the absolute A-team. In the medical tent, they had 2 doctors, a SWAT physician, a ton of SWAT medics, seasoned paramedics, and then basics. If you could draw an A-team from Houston that aren't doctors, they were there. It was just a situation where maybe just over 100 or 150 personnel was responsible for probably over 50,000 highly irresponsible people. Whose fault is it? My observations was the crowd. There were probably some, and you could probably see from the videos going around the internet, these people who are getting up on these towers, screaming at camera people, please stop the show. Those are the heroes. Those are the people who need to be applauded. Because those are the people who actually gave a damn, saw that people were dying, and were like, hey, look, this concert doesn't mean shit. 8 people are dying. At the end of the day, we had 8 confirmed deaths so far, 11 confirmed cardiac arrests. What does that mean? That means 8 people confirmed dead on scene, and the other 3 are still being worked on in the hospital. They might be vegetables by this point. Just highly frustrating. Me and every single one of the medical personnel did our very best, and we're being slandered. We were presented with an impossible situation, and everyone was escorted to the hospital. Everyone was taken care to the best of everyone's ability, and I know for damn sure, whoever my hands touched, I did my absolute damnedest to provide the best care I could. It's just sad to know that when you bring over 50,000 self-centered people who only care about themselves into one place, this is what happens.
Stop the show! Stop the show! Stop the show! Stop the show! Stop the show!
Houston, Texas, make some motherfucking noise real quick, y'all.
Stop the show! Stop the show! Stop the show!
There's a guy.
Cell phone flashlights in the air, y'all.
5 songs ago. On the ground.
If that's okay with you real quick. Says me, let's do it.
think we're going to see a lot more videos like this in the coming days. And that's horrible. If you didn't catch it, she's trying to tell them that someone has died and to stop the show. And I'm hearing reports that before the show even started, there were concerns voiced about the sold-out crowd, about that maybe being too many people to handle. And to make matters worse, there was rumors of people storming the venue, and now with this kind of footage coming out, it seems like that absolutely did happen. I mean, it appears that hundreds upon hundreds of kids could have gotten in on top of the already massive sold-out crowd by just pushing down fences and coming in, and security was in no way prepared for this. And then people are saying there wasn't nearly enough paramedics or medical staff on hand, and then things were complicated even further by the fact that people said their cell phones weren't working, they had no service. So imagine you're in the front, people are being crushed in front of you, and you can't even call for help. But insult to injury is how many racists are using this as an opportunity to just be racist pieces of garbage. So many comments implying that the issue is who attended the concert, and not all of these other mitigating factors. Like the crowd at that show was any different than Warped Tour or like Electric Daisy Carnival, like any of these big shows. It's not. But you have garbage like this racist hunk of shit, not missing an opportunity to just, wallow in other people's misery for his own clout chase. What happened at that show was horrible, and people are going to pay for that. But people like him are what's wrong with the world.